Jim Morrison was born on December 8, 1943 in Melbourne, Florida, to Clara Virginia Clark and George Stephen Morrison, a U.S. naval officer who fought in World War II. Jim eventually became so estranged from his parents that he would later claim that they were dead. Not much is known about his early years, although he claimed in interviews that he began writing poetry in 6th grade and filled his notebooks with writings throughout high school. Jim moved to Los Angeles in the early 1960s, where he enrolled himself in the film program at UCLA. He read books constantly and told friends that he planned to model his life based on the hedonistic French poet Rimbaud. In 1965, after Jim graduated from UCLA, he drifted into the hippie scene at Venice Beach, taking drugs, LSD was his favorite, sleeping under the boardwalk, and writing poems. One day at the beach, Jim ran into Ray Manzarek, a former classmate from UCLA who was a keyboardist in a struggling rock band. When Jim showed Ray some of his poems, he insisted to Jim that they should put together a band for him to sing his poems. Ray and Jim recruited Robbie Krieger as a guitarist and John Densmore as the drummer and began calling themselves The Doors. By 1966 the group was playing in Sunset Strip nightclubs. After moving to more respectable clubs, the group became known for its charismatic stage personality and its hypnotic music, which was highlighted by Ray's eerie keyboard sounds and Robbie's jazzy guitar music. With some misgivings, Elektra Records president Jack Holzman signed them for a recording contract. In January 1967 the first album, The Doors, was released and immediately received universal acclaim. With Jim being the chief lyricist and his songs for the album ranging from The Crystal Ship to Break On Through to the 11-minute, The End. The song, Light My Fire, became the group's first hit single and projected them to number 1 on the top music charts. Jim gained a reputation for erratic public behavior. On December 9, 1967, Jim was arrested on stage during a concert in New Haven, Connecticut for attempting to incite a riot by telling the crowd that a policeman had sprayed him and journalist Patricia Kenneally with mace backstage before the concert. In 1968, the group made the top charts again with their album, Waiting for the Sun, in June, which contained the number 1 hit, Hello, I Love You. But things came to a head on March 1, 1969 during a concert in Miami, Florida where Jim was arrested afterwards for exposing himself to the audience and using profanity. As a result of Jim's legal troubles, the group lost their bookings for the next several months. Recorded before the Miami incident, their 1969 album, The Soft Parade, kept them in the top charts. The group followed up with their next album in 1970 called Morrison Hotel and Absolutely Live, neither of which sold well. In August 1970, Jim was brought to trial for the Miami incident where he was acquitted of charges of lewd and lascivious behavior, but found guilty of indecent exposure and profanity, and was sentenced to 8 months in prison. But he remained free on bail while the verdict was being appealed. The group made a comeback with their 1971 album, L.A. Woman, which featured Jim's top hits, Riders of the Storm, and Love Her Madly. When the last of his appeals was denied and the possibility of jail hanging over him, as well as his fast, stressful lifestyle, Jim decided that he was through being a rock and roll star, and in March 1971, he and Pamela moved to Paris, France, where he intended to continue his literary ambitions. On July 3, 1971, Jim Morrison was found dead in his bathtub in his apartment in Paris at the age of 27. The local police listed the cause of death as heart failure, although most assume that his heart failure was alcohol, even drug-related. News of his death was withheld for nearly a week, which fueled rumors that he faked his death. 3 years later, in August 1974, Pamela died in Paris from a heroin overdose. Coincidentally, she too was 27 years old when she died.